Evening everyone, this is the day solution, day 22, and this is our little screw jack project. So this one has a, again it's going to build up an assembly piece, so over the next couple of days you'll get the follow pieces and then we're going to construct it into a assembled piece. So this particular drawing is just working on the circle commands, line commands, there's a couple of angles and some chamfers in. But it's a bit more geared up towards some engineering terminology. So we have stuff like medium diamond knurl, which is essentially like a grip which is machined in process. So new feature as well is just to improve your skills further, is to get you doing an internal section view. So again, it's building up these skills over the 30 days. So let's jump straight into it. So to go into drawing, obviously this is going to reference my template which I built for this particular sort of challenge course. Okay, and I'm going to jump straight in. So I'm not going to use any center lines for the time being. I need to sort of build my zone of where I'm going to build everything. So I'm kind of going to split this shape in half because it's a nice shape to easily mirror. So I'm going to do an Xline both top and bottom. If I get it straight, I suppose, and mirror this across. I'm going to start then with the whole chain load of dimensions. So we know the outer shape is 50mm, okay, with then a 45. So this is the first two I'm going to put in. So however, remember we're operating this on a mirror function, so it's going to be half. So okay, so 25 goes in first. So we're coming up. And then we have a 45 then we could also include, which will help us align our chamfers. So obviously we know that's going to be 22.5. That's then going to follow in. Realistically, that's the only width that we have to deal with at this sort of stage. Apart from there is a the end section, which is against 25. So I'm going to put that as 12.5. And again, there's another kind of chamfered component on there, but you could put that one in. It's just be 2.5mm less from our view, but I'm not going to worry too much. I'm going to use the chamfer tool rather than hand draw the chamfer anyway. So we go. We've got the 45 in, we've got the 12 in, which is obviously basically the 7.5, which is 25. We've got the 50 input. Now working from left to right, 65, 28, 8. 15 from the 8, and there's a 10 from the 65. So offset, okay, 65 coming across. I've got 10 coming back. I've got 8 moving forward. Okay, 15 off of the 8, and last one 28, which I brain can only hold so many numbers in, like so. So it may not seem like it, but that's the actual half R view for the screw jack. And a bit like, again, if you're not happy with colours, working in layers, feel free to change to the layers, make more, or change to the colour output, like what we've done on the casting video, which is day 19 if you haven't seen it, and then day 20 is the other piece as well. So into my drawing layer. Okay, I'm very used to working like this, so I'm going to run up now. Okay, and basically I'm going to build, it may seem a bit sort of strange at this stage, I'm going to build my first kind of little piece, which is essentially this section here. So it's 28 from, if you go around 28 by 45, it would be 28 by 22.5. I haven't bothered to put any of the other sort of rundown components, because what I'm going to do is that traditionally, if you look, there's a type 25 chamfer, or 2.5, which means it's 2.5 across, 2.5 high, and it'd be 3.58 if you use the Pythagoras to get the actual diagonal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use AutoCAD. So most people would normally do, they would do this. They would do so offset 2.5, so you come 2.5 out by 2.5 down, which essentially is the 45. And what you would do is you bring a line in. Okay, and then you measure it and you sort of get that to be like 3.58, something like that. 3.54, okay. So that's one way to do it, but we're a bit more sophisticated than that now. We're actually just use the Chamfer Tool. Okay, so loading the chamfer tool, it asks you then for the first line, so we want distance. So we know it's 2.5, second distance is 2.5, M for multiple. We can come along now and chunk out those sort of pieces. Okay, so we can actually build our lines this way. Now what you're probably sort of looking at here is that 45 is actually the bottom line. I've just drawn one sort of big kind of area. So actually what I need to sort of do is remove those ones off. Okay, so that line should technically be there, and then I can actually now redo the chamfer. Chamfer CMA multiple. So you can actually choose lines that aren't connecting as well. So you think, oh, why didn't you stretch or lengthen it? That's sort of why I didn't. So that's the outer one done here. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring it along, and I've got another piece which is on the 50 line. Okay, and I know the measurement is there to there on that one because it's the 15. So again, using the chamfer, draw a line down like so. Now when you look at the drawing, it includes the chamfer, so we know that bit's right. Then we have like the 28. So it's not actually a chamfer on this side because it extends into our larger chamfer. So I'm just going to close this one back off. Okay, like so, and I can just trim out that middle section so I've got my profile like so. So that's our first kind of up, chamfer, cross, chamfer, down. So we're at the 28 lines. Now we're going to do our 10. Again, I'm just going to do exactly the same. It's just going to come up here, across, and then it should be an angle of 20. So again, we can test the angle if you've done it right. 160 or 20 internal, which is correct. That's what the angle is saying there. So we've got to do chamfer on the end. Again, 2.5, which we're happy with. And pretty much that's the first profile. So then again, mirror now. Okay, and then you can rotate around. Now before I'm going to do that, if you actually notice, I've got lines coming down. So I'm going to put all those lines in first, because it means I'm not having to cover twice the distance. Okay, remember to do the chamfer ones as well. So just a bit of quick kind of flying around. Because if you're like me, sometimes you always forget to do the easy stuff first and you end up spending twice the amount of time. Like so. So there's our first kind of shape, nice and straightforward. Okay, remember to give yourself some room. Okay. So I've just given myself a 50 distance, just simply because it's 50, so I've got to keep pressing the command, and just built like a center point. Okay, and then just come in radius 25. Offset, which would be the 2.5mm chamfer in this stage, coming in. Last one, 25 diameter circle. D25, offset 2.5. And that's then built my circles. So I've got both views now. Okay, so next thing to do, just going to do another offset. I'm probably going to offset 25 to get the bottom, and then do probably 50 again. And then what we're going to do is put this other section in. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to, rather than draw the profile again, I'm just going to copy this one down. Like so. And what I can now do is I can now strip apart the external with the internal. So I'm going to put in some key lines so I don't delete too many, but I need to put 30 into 15 from on the center. So offset 15, 15 up, 15 down. Now again, if you've seen other videos, you can either make another layer. So I've got like a vision layer, which I'm going to use, or you can just change it by color on there as well. You've got 15. This one here I've got to do is 12. So I'm going to do offset 6. And again, just choose those two into my vision, like so. And obviously then this is M12 times 1.75, so there's like a thread in there as well. So what we're going to essentially do, offset 0.875, which is half of 1.25. Now, people always say, oh, you need to double check this. It's because it's a drawing, you're going to put a tap in die, so your operator that puts the tap in should know what size. So it's 10.2mm drill, and then you tap out to M12. So technically speaking, I've actually just done that the wrong way around, so you've got to make sure that you're internal, not external, because the external is 12. 8.75, like so. There we go. That's that section now. So again, all I've got to do is just draw. Now if you actually look, this line matches up with that line above, so all I'm going to do now is just sort of turn this stuff off, which may seem a bit bizarre, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my construction line off as well. And now when I operate the trim, I need to get rid of all of that, all of that. Okay, coming back, no other lines exist, so let's get rid of that one and that one. That line there is manual line, so I can get rid of that one and that one. I think I can get rid of that one as well, and get rid of that one. I need to keep the external one. So those are the lines that I've just sort of I have to bin off. I'm going to put my construction back in. So what we're going to do is draw a line. Again, you can just do it in half if like you really want to. Bring it up to the point of that line, which is like our first rectangle bit there. This bit. Then we've got a 20 line. So now I'm going to bring the 6 in. Okay, we don't know where this meets, so I'm just going to drag it through, and then all I'm going to do is just bring a line. So 360, bring a line through, so 360 minus 20, so 340. That does seem a bit aggressive there, so we're just going to double check. There we go, 20mm. So again, now we can basically trim this back. Again, turn your layers off so you don't have to trim multiple times. Get rid of that one, get rid of that one, get rid of that one. So that's like my my inner profile now. So we just put these ones back on. Okay, that's like my inner profile for my line. So the 12 should be longer than the 10 essentially. So I may need to actually bring that line. If you latch back on, hopefully, and you get that kind of green line, let's say. Now what we need to do is bring our secondary line through, which will be like the bottom of our thread. Again, then trim that out, like so. And you know that like the thread will have a little lead in, so which we've matched up to the lines of the chamfer, to be fair, so like so. That's sort of what we're going for here now. So all we're going to do is, if I populate the construction line back in, I get my center line. 1, 2, like that, mirror around the center point, keep the original source. Now I can turn all these lines back off again. Like so. So that's sort of the section that we've now got. And that's our 30 point, our angle 20, got our thread. So all we need now to do is put the hatch in this one. So again, just going to use anti-31. Like so. There's my hatch, just to say it's the straight through. So what we can now do is actually make a another layer. So we're going to call this section view. Okay. I'm going to change the line type to like a phantom line. So we go into line type phantom. Okay. So I want it white. And what I'm going to do is on my section view, if we basically draw a line, you get this weird kind of like double double dot. And what I'm now going to do is make it thicker. So I'm just going to change the default line weight to 0.5. Just make it a bit more thicker. It basically represents then a proper section line. So you don't really see a difference, but you see the difference on the output of the printing. So all we're going to do, turn our construction lines back on so I can match up the centre line. I'm going to do 20 mil over, so I'm going to find a point, drag it over and type 20 in, and then come to my last point is 85, so that'll be 105 I'm now going to, like so. So there's my sort of my line. Now I need an arrow pointing up to say that this is the bit that I've sliced. So I'm going to do a Q leader. I'm going to do that 2.5 mil high, or maybe a bit more to get the arrow in actually. Oh, okay, it's just going to rotate my line. Now, you kind of have the arrow like so, so you're saying that you've sliced it in this sort of direction. So now I'm going to do a single line text, 2.5, 0 rotation, I'm going to call it A, enter twice. Now what you can sort of do in the properties window is you can lock this to a center, center like so, and then that'll give me a little snap point for center which I can match up to the top of my arrow essentially. Like so. So now I've got like a little A. Mirror that one. Find the center point of the line, which is that triangle there. Like so. Now I've got a little like section view. And all I need to do now is come down here, 2.5 again, 0 rotation, section A, AA. So if you did like 3 or 4, you can sort of turn around and say, well, you can match up like a B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, however you want to do it. Again, find the center point of that line, get it in the center point of your, like so. There we go. And there's our kind of our viewpoint then. So last thing to do on this one, this is just our dimensions. So again, do what I normally do, run all the linear ones first. So I'm actually going to turn the construction lines on, so I've got a base point to sort of work from. So it's 65 overall. Then we have 28. That really annoys me when it does that. 28. Then we have, is it 8? We have 15. Like so. We have a nice little 10. Like so. We have the 45 line. Let's hope if I get the right points, I suppose. So one thing to remember here is that the 45 is going to have a big fat line over it. So if you saw on mine, it wasn't very clear. So I'm going to just drop it down a little bit so it's nice and clear. We've got our chamfer. Now it's a 2.5 type, so you're just going to put type in afterwards. That's basically a type of chamfer. And if you notice, my annotation is also, if you're going to manage the style, it always says comma. It's because it's an isometric, so I'm just going to change that to period to make the full stop. Okay, last one I do is across the top here. Try and match it all up, make it look neat. Then you can do the 2R, 25 in diameter. Like so. Now on there it says medium nail. If you didn't know what a medium nail was, you can probably type that in. Also, what you can do with a medium nail is you can draw a little circle like that. You can hatch that circle. Maybe try 32. A bit more of a hatch. So my hatch has got quite a few lines, or actually if I can do the cross. So you use the ANSI 37, and all you do is you just delete and that symbolises a medium null. You could also put that in there if you wanted. And all I did was remember percentage C will give you the diameter, and then I just basically put medium, medium. Like so, and then if it doesn't fit right, you think actually it's overpowering my 50, you just change the height a little bit. There you go, 50 diamond nail. I've also got that diamond nail symbol there, so that's going to do. Put little bits on the internals for the linear one. So we've got linear there. Okay, being a bit of a panicky engineer, make sure everything's lined up. It just makes it so much more neater. Same again, coming in. See, remember this has got a plus or minus, so we're going to do percentage. Plus, minus. Oh, I can't remember what it is. Yeah, oh, it's P. So plus or minus 0.1. which is like essentially the tolerance. Also, you may or may not have known this. If you go to annotate, come into dimensions, there's also a little tolerance band, so you can put obviously like symbol. So if you actually knew the actual tolerance. You've got plus or minus on it, but some systems have plus or minus. But yeah, you can actually put a tolerance in there properly. Then, if you knew it was like cylindrical or perpendicularity or parallel, you can put that in there. Last thing to do is just on the end. Okay, select the 12 again. 12 times 1.75. No, not enter twice. Just close the editor. That'll pop it down there, like quite nice for you. We can do some angles. Again, the 20 sometimes works really well. Other times it's a proper pain to put in. Like so. Remember, you can always move these. You're not locked to anything. Like so. I mean, that doesn't look very clear either, so let's just drag that slightly more. And you can always drag the, like so. And then that's that piece done. So okay, so then just outputting it onto a drawing, and because I've done my section view properly, I can sort of bring it into a maybe 1.5 scale. I might get lucky, but I positioned it quite wide, I think. So yeah, if I did a bit of annotating, drop some stuff around, I can get a 1.5 mm scale and then come out to plot. And like I said earlier, the line type didn't really change. Oh, I didn't turn my. So if I turn off the lines on it. Okay, back to layout, plot. Okay, the lines then come through a bit more thicker, which is quite nice. So basically, just got to move some bits around to make it a bit more tolerable. So that's the solution for today. We're on day 22. Tomorrow will be the next part of the screw jack component. So stay tuned for that one. Cheers.